And how do these friendly liens protect the passive investments that you and I would do in somebody else's syndication?
Yes, yes. So against my single family residences, ours technically are free and clear. So we had the first mortgage, but the typical scenario, because I'm so busy, I should be sucking my equity out of that and buying 10 more homes, right? But I don't have time. So putting a senior lien against what you do have title to, but as a passive investor, you might have a relationship that you could do that and not infringe on anybody else's investment. But what we would typically do is put a UCC1 in the public record, and that's a Uniform Commercial Code lien. So there's only two types of liens. Those liens against real property, which are either called deeds of trust or mortgages, and then everything else you own, accounts receivable, your cars, passive investments, we can put UCC1s against that. So we create a senior lien and don't really have to infringe on the syndicator or the person that you're investing with.
So basically, really speak, what you are saying is, yes, you are investing your money with this indicator, but there is definitely a good idea that you create this Golden Mountain company, which should create this UCC1 lien against all the assets that you own, which are free and clear, because and any other investments also for that
Yes.
matter.
Yes, even partial investments as a second or third lien. Are what people don't stop to think, and lawyers, it's just not information that's out there, is that only less than 1% of cases go all the way to trial. So it's your public image that decides whether a case is even going to move forward. And if it does it settle early for very small amounts, or does it wait to the very 11th hour because they're hoping to get an extra $1 million on the table in settlement? And contingency fee attorneys, if they are suing, they look at whether there's any senior liens. They're not crusaders. They are in it as a business partner with the person that has the claim. And so they look at that and they say, hey, normally I would make $8 million on the same fact scenario, but there's lots of assets out there, but there seems to be, they've been living the American dream. They've extended, their credit is extended too far, and there's senior creditors. I'm not going to take the case. An hourly person will take the $5,000 from the client and do the same research, but on the client's dime, and then come up with the same answer. Oh, there's a lot of investments. Their name is in a bunch of places, but there's all these senior creditors. So we better take insurance limits, or we better take what we can squeeze out of this. They are going to encourage, they're going to pound their chest in front of you, but behind the scenes, they're telling their client, take this piddly amount because we're trying to squeeze blood from a turnip. For a litigator to run an entire case and get $100,000 or $150,000 from a client and say, here's your piece of paper, and oh, by the way, there's all these creditors, that's a formula for a malpractice case. And so having these senior liens in the public record, we've been doing this from the very early 90s, and we've had clients that have faced serious matters, and we've never had a structure busted. Most litigators don't know, most lawyers in any area really don't know our area. Asset protection, lawsuit protection is kind of an esoteric area. So it blindsides these litigators, and those that have found out about it don't know enough about it, and they still settle on pennies on the dollar.
Wow,